guys, welcome to Tailgate Talking with Scott. Today I want to share with you a little bit about the MLF BFL over in Demopolis, Alabama that we had this past Saturday and how we caught our fish and what lures we caught them on. So first of all, we salvaged some points this weekend. We finished 29th out of 90 boats. Hats off to the guys that figured out the big fish pattern and how they did. But for me, it helped out a lot because we were 47th in points before the weekend for Angler of the Year, and now we're in 30th. So we gained 17 spots this weekend, and that's huge for us. So I'm very pleased with our production there. But here's what we're going to get into, show you exactly how we caught them, what we caught them on. So the first thing we caught them on, only two lures that we caught them on. We caught them on a white 3/8 ounce swim jig. This is a swim jig that I make myself and pour up for my fishing and the way I like to fish them. It has just a bullet head on it, and I'll show it to you in a few minutes. We paired that up with a 7.3 heavy fast FX custom rod. This is the Extreme Angler series with the wind grips on it. Perfect for a 3/8 ounce swim jig. I'm talking perfect. We also have a Lew's speed reel here, and that is a 7:1:1 ratio. And that allows me to get that swim jig up to the bank or into the grass and be able to pump that rod and bring that swim jig back to me and be able to keep up with the line as I'm pumping it coming back with that 7:1:1. So that's the first thing we caught them on. Second thing we caught them on is a 3/8 ounce War Eagle spinnerbait, just a chartreuse and white, no trailer on it, just a straight up, no kind of trailer whatsoever, no trailer hook on it or anything. Willow leaf blades, gold and a silver, and that's what we caught them on there. We paired that up with a custom FX rod, a 610 heavy fast, and another Lew's reel, and this is also a 7:1:1. Now you probably say, well, why are you using a 7:1:1 on that also? What I like to do is I like to slow roll that spinner bait whenever I throw it up around trees or I throw it up around the shoreline. When I pop it off of there, I can just sit here and just slowly turn my handle, and those blades will just sit there and click, click, click for me. And that's what we caught our fish on this weekend. I also want to share with you something that I found out between 2.5 days of practice over there. So I was catching the majority of the fish on the white swim jig. And during practice, the earlier days, we had good weather, partly cloudy, some sunny, but that white jig with a Zoom Super Chunk trailer on it was the key during practice. However, we got a heavy rain Friday night, and it kicked up the mud in the river for us, and all the backwater, it got a little bit muddier, stained more. The fish, I started out in the tournament with this exact setup, and you can see about how long that trailer is. I lost 7 fish by 7:30 in the morning with this setup, and I was really frustrated, and I said, I can't understand what's going on, but the fish were grabbing these tails, and they were just grabbing the tails and not taking the whole jig, and I would set the hook and there would be nothing there. So I said, I just sat down in the boat and I said, man, I got to do something different. So I pulled out a Strike King trailer, and it's a little bit different trailer. You can see a little bit more how it looks, but look at the difference in the size of those two, the profile of it. That smaller profile during the tournament is what caught my fish for me, because now they were actually being able to grab the entire jig, and I was able to hook up with them then. But it took me a little while to figure out what was going on tournament morning, and that's, I hate that that's the time you got to do it, but sometimes you got to make an adjustment, and I found that out. So then I started catching some fish on that. I went back to the spinnerbait and only caught 1 fish all day long on Saturday, but I thought that the spinnerbait would play a bigger role for me than it did, and it honestly didn't. That swim jig, that white swim jig, was able to, the fish were able to feel the vibration it was putting off and locate it and see it in that muddier water. So, in muddy water, there's 2 colors you want to throw, white or a darker color like a black and blue. And I chose the white, and it paid off. Again, we had, I think we had 814, right at 9 pounds, you know, for the tournament. You know, if I hadn't made the mistakes that I made early in the morning with that bigger profile jig, you know, and losing those fish in the morning, you know, who knows what could have happened. I think some of those fish that I missed were bigger fish in the morning, but hey, you know, hindsight's 2020. I'll learn from my mistake, and I'll move on from it. So anyway, that's what happened over at Demopolis. That's how we caught our fish. Had a great co-angler, Mr. Williams. I want to thank you for being in the boat with me. You were a trooper all day long, and I enjoyed you being in the boat with me. So we've got 2 more stops. The next stop is going to be Neely Henry in Gaston, Alabama, and then the last stop of the tour this year for us will be on the Alabama River out of Cooter's Pond over here in Prattville, Alabama. So I'm excited about that. And again, we moved up to number 30th in points, and you got to be in the top 45 in order to move on to the regional championship, and that this year's going to be at Dale Hollow Lake on Tennessee. And as long as we can stay consistent, and that's the name of the game. Sometimes it's not all about winning, even though I want to win. It's about being consistent so you can make it to that next level and make it to that next regional tournament. And that's what I'm pushing for. Again, I'd like to thank all my sponsors, and without you guys, we couldn't be doing this. Thank you so much for what you've done for me this year, what you did for me last year, and hopefully what you'll do for me next year if we can continue on with this thing. So again, recap on it. We caught them on a spinnerbait, War Eagle, 3/8 ounce, white and chartreuse, and we caught them on the white swim jig, just a bullet head swim jig. You can see that thing there. And we capitalized on them with a shorter trailer, Strike King trailer, pearl white, and that's what we caught them on. So anyway, if you haven't yet, I wish you would subscribe to me if you like what you're seeing, and we're going to continue to put out some good videos here about how-tos and what we're doing, how we're catching fish. Also, you Facebook followers, share it out, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing for us. Till then, tight lines to you, and we'll catch you on the water.